turn the mics right there. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Valerie Hunt, Ask Me Anything, Run RX. Today we've got a great 2 questions that came in. And by the way, you're like, how do I even ask a question? You can always comment here. That's a great way to do it. Or you can look on the website and it's got a contact us. And another thing to keep in mind is, my main thing is to help people run pain-free. So that's Run RX, that's our tagline, run pain-free. And I always say, it doesn't mean it's easy. It just doesn't have to hurt. So if you are hurting, if something's hurting right now in your run, take our free quiz on the website, and it helps you to get started on maybe you're doing something you didn't realize you were doing. So today's main question I've gotten from 2 different people, and it's a very similar thing. So the basic question was, hey, I started trying to do what you're saying, and my calves are really hurting. And so this is really, really common, especially when you try to change a new movement. Well, it's not changing a new movement. Taking a movement you've done for a long time and changing it. I mean, just the whole aspect of running as a movement has to be kind of your first thought. For most of us, when we think about going running, we just go running, right? It's not really a thought. It's a, how far am I going to go run? How fast? Are there hills? What shoes am I wearing? So many other factors in running until we're hurt. And then we're like, I wonder if it was my shoes. I wonder if it was the hills. I wonder if it was how far I ran or fast I ran. And we very rarely think it was how we were running. A lot of times, I've heard, I ran a race, let's say, about a year ago, I guess all of us about a year ago, and everyone said, oh, there's a part in the run where the street's really rough, like cobblestones, and it's really bad for your feet. Well, no, it's not. It's just a different surface for sure, and you wouldn't want to run a whole marathon on it, but I thought, you know what? They're probably pushing or reaching, so that ground is, they're feeling it more. And so one of the things that I work on the most, because when I first started running, it hurt. That's why I got into wanting to run without pain. I wasn't interested in being an athlete. I was interested in coaching people and making sure they got to the finish line, not just at their goal pace, but without knee pain or plantar fasciitis or shin splints. I mean, it was just so much pain when we first started this whole running bit. And for me, by the way, I've been running for over 30 years. And so when I used to first run races, I was a big marathoner for a long time. It really was just about getting to the race and running as many miles as we could before race day so we'd be ready to run on race day. We kept thinking we'll be better at running if we just run more. And once everyone's getting injured, including the teacher, the coach, I had to say, you know what, guys, I'm going to go look into what's going on here. We can't all be this bad at it. And we were. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We just, our intent in our movement was wrong. That's it. So one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is when your calves hurt, when your shins hurt. I'm not singling out the calves. It just seems to be very prevalent when you're trying to change how you run. So it's either calves or maybe heel or somewhere around here. Maybe it's the shin itself around the ankle, somewhere in the front of the foot. Most of these injuries are coming from just the way you are on the ground and how you're responding to the ground. Are you looking for the ground, which is usually a reach of some sort, or are you using the ground to try to take your body forward? So 2 actions. One is pushing and one is reaching, and most of you do both. That's how I was taught, by the way. I was taught to push off my back foot and then reach with my front foot. So I still have on my mantle my very first marathon picture, and this is back when they didn't have race photography. So you had to ask somebody to stand there and take your picture. And I am like literally so happy to see the finish line. But like my back foot's way back here and my front foot's like way out here. I mean, just going in different directions. So when you start to see running a little bit different, you understand why it was that you just kept getting that shin splint or that plantar fasciitis or that calf pain. Simply because if you're trying to push your leg and your body goes forward, guess where your leg goes? Your body goes forward, you're pushing, your leg goes back. And then it's back here. And unfortunately, once my leg is back here in my running, the only way to bring this leg forward is to use the hip. So then you've got the hip, so what happens, you're pushing off this foot, and then this foot goes forward. So we call it like confusion in the run, because you're telling this leg to go back and then this leg to go forward. It's confusing because really you want your body to go forward. What you really want is your body to go forward and your foot to pull up. So why is my calf hurting? Because I'm pushing, or you're pushing. So pushing is if I was gonna jump. So I brought these out, so I'll just show you real quick. So pushing, if I was gonna jump on that, you see I'm gonna push because I wanna go up. So I wanna go up. So I have time to get in the air and then land on here, right? Imagine if you are doing that in your run, you're pushing. So then you travel up, right? So if you're running by pushing, this is pushing, see? It would be like this. Up, 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 up. This would be pushing. So then I'd be traveling up, but I'm getting tired because my muscles are having to work so hard. That's so much work on the calf. Now, it's a great drill. Like to get stronger in running, I highly encourage doing things like running on a curve. But little movements and keeping the knee bent to strengthen two things. One, your muscle elasticity, but also to get rid of wanting to jump. I don't want to go up with my body. I want my body to go forward, and I want my foot to pull up. So if I'm hurting in my calf, it's because I'm trying to run by pushing. You see, my body went up, and then once it goes up, it has to go down, and it's going to go down pretty hard because I pushed it up. So we want to do the opposite. And by the way, if I put these behind me for just a minute, I'm going to give myself a little barrier. But if I'm here and I'm running and I push, then I also, look, see? Energy's going behind me. If you pull your foot and let your hamstring do the work, the foot will travel with you. You want to pull the foot, your body goes forward, you pull the foot, the hamstring finishes the pull. It's really cool. I mean, we all have this ability. This isn't anything that's like only the elites can do it, or I'm not really a runner. You have a hamstring. What your hamstring does itself is it closes the leg. And if you stand here with both feet on the ground, look down at your foot for just a minute, lift your toes up, on purpose, and then pick up the foot. See, if you do that, you'll feel the hamstring. Now let the toes relax. There's no toes involved in running. They do what they need to do. They prepare your foot for landing. So leave the toes out of it. Body weight's in the ball of the foot. So now leave your foot flat, but still use the hamstring. See? My hamstring brings my ankle under my hip. You want to know these things because, see, my thigh bone stays pointing down. My knee is just a hinge. It doesn't lift. See, it stays right there. My ankle comes under my hip. So when you're running and you've pulled the foot, the knee is lifting because the foot is lifting up, not because there's anything going on with the knee. The ankle is pulling under the hip. Then your body goes forward, you pull this foot, this one will drop, and here you are back in the running pose. So it's the simplicity of that we get in trouble with, because most of us are still thinking about where you're going to put the foot, and that's what gets you in trouble. Because if you think, one, pushing, right? We just got rid of that, I hope. We now realize it makes no sense to push our body weight up when we are simply trying to let gravity take us forward. That's our acceleration. So the higher the angle of fall, the quicker my foot will in fact pull up from the ground. So with no effort, see, I didn't push, I just let the knee bent, and there I was back in my pose, ready to fall and pull. If I had pushed, I would be looking like that. Knotted pose, stuck on the ground, okay? So that's why my calves hurt. Then if I'm reaching, taking my foot forward, this is called controlling foot strike. Then it's like, there's my foot, Here's my body behind it. Now I'm going to take this foot, basically push. You see, it's like a teeter-totter. To get rid of reaching, try putting something in front of you, right? And then pulling. And feel the up. Up, 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 up. If you can do that in place without pain, you can travel forward. That's kind of a fun thing. Somebody's got a question, so let me see. Minimalist shoes, heel pain, pose for slow running. Okay, let me answer these questions. So first, real quick, let's say this. Minimalist shoes, it's always a conversation. Definitely progress into wearing minimalist shoes if you've never worn them before. That's important. If you've been wearing like really thick, cushy shoes, ease in. And then wear them initially to walk around in, maybe do your drills in, and then progress to doing your running. But you should really do yourself a favor and strength train your feet. I've got a great on YouTube for free. It's called the RunRx Reboot. It's a 30-day practice. It's got skill, strength, and self-care. The strength and the self-care are geared for feet and hips, right? Because this is where the stress of the running is, right? Where's my body weight? It's on my foot, always, right? When you're touching the ground, it's on the foot. So be careful in thinking that other muscles are working, because they're not. Your muscles are all, like, your body is one connected unit when you run. That's what you want. One body weight on the ground. And when that body weight touches down, you respond by pulling. But what's so important is you have to develop that intent and ability with these drills, right? So what most people are missing, just to keep in mind if you're hurting especially, is that you're missing the fall. So remember, from the pose, there's 3 elements: pose, fall, pull. So from the pose, my body has to fall. It's not an action, it's you allow it, because gravity's already here. You make that choice. Fall, pull. If I do it correctly, I should feel like I need to continue pulling. That elasticity of the pull will happen. So practicing the drills and the skill and the strength to be able to hold this pose is what's going to make your running. But while you're doing that, your feet will get stronger, and your hips will get stronger, and your whole system gets stronger because you're working connected as a unit, right? So remember, if I'm buying minimalist shoes, great, but I'm going to do the work it takes to wear those minimalist shoes. I'm going to do my foot exercises, and again, they're all in the stages if you just watch it. Just simple stuff: scrunch your toes, wiggle your toes. Your body is made to support you, your body weight. So wear your shoes, again, before you start running. Just walk around in them, wear them at work if you want, absolutely. Okay, number 1. The second question was calf pain, which we just went over. If you do have the pain, go through the reboot. Go through those skill, strength exercises. Go through that self-care. You have to do it all. You have to do it all. Meaning this: I have to stretch. My calf hurts. I have to stretch it, right? Just a traditional stretching works. I have to strengthen it. I have to do elasticity. Like, it's not one thing, it's the connection of all, right? And imagine, I'm going to be running 1,500 steps a mile. I need to be in the correct running pose, the optimal position to use gravity to fall and pull my foot. So there's not a pose for you over here and then you over here. So someone says, show me pose for slower runners. It's the angle of fall is speed. So everybody has to practice the same pose because there's only one running pose. Here's the most important. If you listen to nothing else today, listen to this. During your run, you are only finishing the pull, meaning your foot never needs to pull any higher than breaking contact with the ground. So if you go through the stages, I will teach you how to practice a quick change of support, especially if you're just getting into running, especially if you're just getting going or you're coming back from an injury or you don't want to get injured. The more you can work with your body weight here, think of how much easier it is to work here, you see? So you practice both. You work on both. When you run, because you have to develop what is pulling. So you have to do a big movement to learn. But it's just standing in place, so it's not speed. Falling is something you connect with. I suggest using a wall to start with, just really simple. But you have to agree to yourself and think there is really something to this. Because otherwise, if you guys are out there pulling, how am I can look, I can go faster, I can pull higher, I can start pumping my arms, but you see I go nowhere. So it's not about am I wanting to run faster or slower, it's about am I willing to work with these drills in myself and feel free falling. Free falling. You have to play with the skill because look, if I was training for sprinting, then my pull height would be this high because of my fall angle. I'm falling more. If I'm just wanting to go for a tempo run, you'll see, you'll pull like to here. So, but the practice is the same for everybody. That's what's so fun about it. But you choose your fall angle. You see? Pose. That's the fun part. So guys, take away everything like that you've thought about running before and go through the reboot if you haven't. If you're hurting, take the quiz. But keep this in mind, the simplicity of it. If I get comfortable with just 3 elements, if I just practice, I pull my foot, because pull is the opposite of push. Remember the knee is bent. If I push, it straightens my leg out, puts stress on my calf. So I have to feel that pulling. I have to play with falling and just have some fun with it. It is a lot of fun. The drills are fun. Ease in, just like with your minimalist shoes. You can't just go from I've never done these drills before and all of a sudden start doing a bunch at a time. Remember, like I said, if you're just pulling, you're gonna get tired and your calves are gonna hurt because you're just jumping. So take the time to go through the practice and really play with the fall pull, and you'll be so impressed at yourself of how quickly, one, you get more comfortable with the movement, and of course you get off the ground quicker and the pain is definitely much less, okay? So I'm gonna, sorry. We had one more question. I was trying to find the finish of it. Somebody went for a run, slight incline, had to stop after a couple kilometers due to bad pain. Rolled up my pants and had a bump on the shin. So that's like usually, not a doctor, but that's usually a type of bruising, swelling obviously. So it's always a good idea to stop, and if you see something you're like, ah. I do a lot of self-massage, you know, move the leg around, make sure you can move a full range of motion through the ankle, of course, relax those calves a little bit, you know, and then try to, if you can get back and running and it doesn't hurt, great. But again, shins, what is shin pain coming from? It's coming from your leg being in front of you. That's what's coming from. So then stop a second, reset, and remember, what is running? Running is pulling my foot up from the ground. So here I am, but how do I actually travel? Press my hips forward to fall, see? Having the understanding of what it is you're supposed to be doing helps you get back there, right? Helps you be aware of if something's happening, maybe before it happens, before I get the injury, before. Maybe it starts as a twinge, then your body's like, hey, you're reaching, my hip, my IT band, my outer knee, here, front of the foot, all of that reaching. Back of the leg is usually coming from pushing. And the best part is, while you're correcting your actions to run correctly, you can work on things like your tight hips, your tight hamstrings, all of that stuff that will just help you to be a better runner, but it's not limiting you. That's the fun part, because we have full potential of ourselves to practice standing like this, to let go to fall, and pull the foot. And so the more you practice that, the better you will be at running. So keep it simple and have fun. Back next Wednesday, so like I said, you can comment under here, reach out to our website, take the quiz if you have any pain, go through the reboot if you want to get started. And most important, we do have what's really great, we have a membership. If you ever really want to take it all the way, you come in for 12 weeks and it's great. We have gait analysis, we have check-ins, You go through the practice with a coach. We have a really supportive community. So I'd love to see you there also. All right, guys, hope you have a great pain-free run. Thank you.